ولا بعدين بنحكي موضوع ثاني؟ لما نحتاجها يا ابو حاضر ان شاء الله. الله يعطيك العافيه ان شاء الله. ربنا يبعد عنا الشر كله يا رب. اذا تسكر غرفتك ولا ايش؟
Israel's soldiers were reported to have fought Hamas militants during limited ground raids in Gaza, as the bombardment of the besieged enclave continued Monday. Spokesperson for the Israeli military, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said tanks and infantry went in overnight and killed, quote, squads of terrorists. The soldiers also tried to gather information on the 222 hostages being held by the Islamist Hamas, he said. In the Sheikh Radwan area of Gaza City, families were forced to flee an Israeli strike. Hundreds were killed by such attacks in the past 24 hours, mostly in the south of the narrow, densely populated strip, Gaza's health ministry said, bringing Palestinian deaths in the 2 weeks of Israeli strikes to more than 5,000. The Israeli bombardment was triggered 2 weeks ago by a cross-border attack by Hamas militants, who killed more than 1,400 people and seized hostages. Photos of the victims filled the seats of a University of Tel Aviv auditorium on Monday in tribute. While Israeli troops and tanks mass on the Gaza border, it's still not clear how soon they might launch a ground invasion aimed at eliminating Hamas. Israel said its limited ground operation targeted Palestinian gunmen and that its airstrikes focused on sites where Hamas was assembling to ambush any wider Israeli invasion. Hamas, which runs Gaza, also reported overnight clashes with Israeli soldiers close to Khan Yunis in the south of the enclave. Meanwhile, desperate civilians are running out of food, water and places to shelter from the unrelenting bombardment. A third Gaza-bound aid convoy entered the Rafah crossing from Egypt on Monday, but the trickle of supplies arriving since the weekend is only a fraction of the amount needed. The United Nations Humanitarian Office says the volume is just a tiny percentage of the daily average before the conflict. About 1.4 million of Gaza's 2.3 million population are now internally displaced, it says, with many seeking refuge in overcrowded UN emergency shelters. UN workers say some who heeded Israel's warning to leave the north of Gaza for the south are now heading back because of the bombing there.